Video archive 41. Live person long. Trade duration 4 trading days. Entry 129. Exit 170. Gain 31.8%. This is my trading chart. I was debating if I should mention where I set my stop loss, which I'll say right now while I try to share my screen. I set my stop loss at 123, 124. All right. Here is the trade I took. This one right here. So I'm going to just put a little bit of macro background in before I zoom in, because I was really zoomed in on the trade. I'm going to draw what I'm going to call a speculative channel, because you can see clearly price broke out. It's really just connecting these two lows and seeing where that diagonal travels back. You can see it acts as resistance along this bout of price action, and support, almost support. That's interesting right there, because there's kind of like a heartbeat-esque type thing going on right there, or whatever. Some sort of there's a small oscillation in there, and you can kind of see the middle of that is where the bottom side of the channel I have on drawn on there. And then boom, boom, and on these two lows right here, boom, boom, you can see there's clear divergence. I'll pump up to the daily. I like this signature here too, because you get the clear divergence and also hold the center line. So the fact that that happened, and then we go on to have this powerful candle. Look at this puppy, right? Oh. If I go to like the 4 hour, you can see, look at this puppy right here. Boom! Just shredded up. So what I did was, once we broke out of this range, because you can see it where I'm going to drop a horizontal right here, and I'm going to turn it thick and white. You can see this area is I guess we'll zoom in a little. Bottom of this gap right here. But the main thing I was looking at was, so there's a little bit of historical, recent history significance there. And then right here, boom, resistance. I mean, support. And then when it did break through, that's when it had a pretty significant down move. But this price action right here was ranging and topping out right there. So when it did break out of this, I'm interested to see if that range, did I encompass that whole range? Not quite. If that range is that pretty close. That's interesting. Anyway, so we held the, well, I don't know if I'd call that a triangle. I guess I would look more at this horizontal here. We held this previous gap right here, higher low here, put in the divergence, continued up. When we did break through this horizontal line I have right here, which was the top of this range of price action right here, I got in on a wick down. Let's zoom in a bit. See, we gapped up. So I set my order at the bottom of this gap right here, and we happen to come right in, fill it, and continue on. If, as you can see on the 1 hour, I basically set my stop loss at this 50 period moving average, which is the orange. And my stop loss was 1 penny away from getting hit. So that was really lucky. I set the stop loss using this previous gap right here. Usually I'll set it at the bottom, which probably would have been safer, but I set it at the top of it, because I figured if we broke back into this range, that would be bad news. Oh, wow, it literally came exactly to this low also right here on this yellow candle. So that's really a market structure trade. That these lows right here, and then the power we had here, and then it was really stalling out right here, 130. And then when we got the breakthrough, that was like, okay, confirmation in my head, or at least a clear area to manage my risk if it didn't continue on, and a clear entry right there at the high. So I guess I waited for, technically, in retrospect, I'm realizing I waited for the breakout for confirmation before entering, which is not how I was thinking about it, in those terms at least. And then my target was, I got out at 170, which is a pretty obvious target. We have this gap at 175 is the beginning of this giant gap. And we also have the 200 period moving average, which was at 174 at this time. So I moved my sell down to 170 because I didn't care to capture those last couple cents. I mean, let's see, what would it have been? Another 4%. I wasn't worried about it. I just wanted to make sure my order got filled, because too many times have I been a penny off. which I guess in the long run that might be a tendency toward risk aversion, but it worked out in this case because as you can see, I guess one last thing before I continue playing price action out because I am on replay right now. It is a couple days later. You can see these three highs right here, or four, I guess, connect. So there's kind of that resonance point, as I like to refer to it. That might be the improper terminology, but we have the beginning of the gap, the 200 period moving average on the daily, and the that diagonal trend line. And then if you draw a fib here, you also have a 1.13 at 170. So roughly, I didn't draw that in perfect, but so there's this resonant point, kind of acts like a magnet and or resistance repellent, I guess in this case. We'll play this out. So as you can see, we had that strong candle up to it, but then pretty powerful rejection here. That's my most recent listing trade. As you can tell, this is all I've been trading recently, and boys have been a joy. I love living, love being a live person, and I will continue listening.